Okay, so hello and welcome back to another video, and let's just talk about the elephant in the room. I know, these brows. They are something, they are chunky yet funky, and they're in charge, they're thick, and I know, they're very circa 2018, but listen, I don't know, I got carried away. Let's ignore them, they're gonna look not as extreme once I do makeup, so let's not judge. Anyways, today's video is about reviewing and doing 3 looks with the iconic Bperfect cosmetic. No, let me try to put my best English accent. Today we're gonna be reviewing the Bperfect Cosmetics Sceptre palette. Yes, darling. Oh, how marvelous.
Okay.
I know my English accent is terrible, but either way, we're going to be reviewing and doing 3 looks with the Vivienne palette in collaboration with Bperfect Cosmetics, and I am super excited because, as you might guys know, whatever, my English is not good. So I am a little bit late to the party, but listen, I've been busy, I don't live in Europe, so it was hard to get this right off the bat when it launched. And yeah. Okay, so for those of you who don't know who the Vivienne is, she is the winner of Drag Race UK Season 1. She's an amazingly talented drag artist. Her makeup is beautiful and she's also super funny, which is kind of like a hard thing to find. A comedy queen that also has pretty makeup. It retails for £36, well actually £35.95. So yeah, take that as you will. This is from the official website. And other retailers, it might be more expensive. So this is meant to be a palette with 33 eyeshadows, of which there's 25 super pigmented mattes, 7 stunning shimmers, and 1 super sparkle pressed glitter, aka just the glitter. And then there's 6 face powders. One of them is a bronze and contour, the other one is a blush, then there's 2 highlighters, and then there's the black and there's a white. So you guys might be able to tell that the 6 face powders are obviously in bigger pans than the rest of the eyeshadows. And yeah, I don't know why they call these 2 face powders. I don't feel like they're face powders unless you're using them to, I don't know, paint on your face, or maybe the white for like really brightening. But anyways, they're face pan sized. Does that make sense? Yeah. So obviously during this review, throughout these 3 looks, we're going to be trying as many shadows as we can in different ways, and we're also going to be trying the face powders. So yes, let's get into the swatches. So these are the swatches of the mattes, and as you guys can tell, the mattes, most of them swatch beautifully. They're beautifully pigmented. There is some shades that are slightly similar, like Pink Lady, and Here She Is. And yeah, there's a very good variety. They're mostly all colorful with some nude shades thrown in. And then let's go with the shimmers. The shimmers are beautiful. They're not my preferred formula from Bperfect. Bperfect and some of their other palettes has that more foiled formula, which doesn't seem to be present in this palette. Also, the shade Marshmallow looks literally the same as the highlighter glaze, which you will be seeing in a second. And then finally we have this like crown shade, which is a pressed glitter. It looks pretty, but we'll see how that performs when used. Then we have the 6 face powders. The black and the white are super creamy. Both highlighters are beautiful. And then you have a beautiful blush and contour / bronzer shades. So on top of all of that, the palette has a huge mirror, you guys. Like, it is massive. It covers more than my face. It is big. That's what she said.
Oh, Jesus. Gross.
So yeah, Louvre, let's get into the looks, shall we? Okay, so hello and welcome to the first look we're going to be doing. And as you might be able to tell, a lot of my face is already done. My brows are covered and I've drawn on new brows, and that's because, obviously, I mean, I want to go for something that represents the Vivienne a little bit more. And since she's a drag queen, we're going to go for a drag look. So not only this is going to be a drag look, but we're also going to be using most of the face powder. Actually, I think we're going to use all of these face powders. And we're going to be using for the eyeshadow a little bit more of the purple, green, and yellow tones. And we're going to try to pull something out of that. Right now you're not too zoomed in, so you can probably not tell how heavy my makeup is right now, but I'm wearing a lot of makeup, a lot of powder. But I do feel like I could do with a little bit of brightness and brightening, especially under my eye area. So what I'm gonna do is see if this White Party face powder slash eyeshadow is good for that. So I'm gonna grab it in this, this is meant to be a highlighting brush, but we're just gonna grab some of that white eyeshadow. Okay, it picks up quite a lot on the brush, and let's just go and pack that under the eye. Ooh, okay, I mean, you guys can tell on camera, that's done quite a lot. Actually, maybe too much. Let's try to blend that out a little bit. Ah! Okay, and now I'm gonna go and highlight also like the brow bone and a little bit of the nose with this more detailed brush. And with this, we're packing it on more than on the face. Wow, okay, that's like a pigmented white shadow. That's really nice. Okay, so there's the white powder used to highlight. I think I prefer it as kind of like an eyeshadow or brow bone highlight more than anything. It is very pigmented, very creamy too. It sticks very easily to the skin. So the issue is that I think if you're not careful, you can highlight too much with it. Okay, so now we're gonna go with contour, and I already have a little bit of cream contour I have from when I did my whole base makeup. So there's that, but I mean, we're doing drag tonight, okay, mama? And the dolls are the dolls, and we're gonna contour. So we're gonna use the shade Sculpt, and I mean, in drag, there's never enough contour. Actually, I'm lying, there is enough contour, but you get what I mean. Okay, let's try not to reach Trixie Mattel levels. Let's see, it picks up quite a lot on the brush, so let's see how that goes onto the, oh. Okay, yeah, it's very pigmented, and it is like quite dark for my skin tone, but let's see how that blends out. For some reason, there's this little area on my skin that is sticking to, and it's not happening anywhere else. So I just don't know if it's from my skin or my base makeup this time around that is doing that, but it's just everywhere else is blending nicely, like really nicely. I really like it, and I like the shade. Okay, so my face is fully contoured now, and I really like the shade of this contour powder. It's not gonna work in every skin tone, but it is not too cool nor too warm, so it's not too yellow or too orange or too gray. It's none of those, so I feel like it's pretty universal, it's pretty neutral, so I can see it fitting a lot of different skin tones and undertones. And also, it is a little too deep for me, but it's very blendable, so I can make it work. So I can definitely see it working on people with a little bit deeper skin tone and even a little bit of a lighter skin tone than mine. The only little issue I've had with the contour bronzer in the palette is that, I don't know if you guys, let me try to get closer to the camera. Here, there's this little spot here on my skin where the contour has kind of like stuck onto, and it wouldn't blend. Like everywhere else it's blended very easily, but in that specific spot it would not blend. And I don't know, like I don't think it's the contour because everywhere else is blended nicely. So I think it might just be from how much makeup I'm wearing, or just that specific spot on my skin today is not doing well. Just worth mentioning. So yeah, let's move on to using the blush. Okay, so the blush is this shade right here, and it's called Parasol. And it's kind of like a muted, slightly muted pink. It's not a very vibrant pink, but it's still beautiful. So let's go into it with a brush. Okay, once again, quite a lot picks up on the brush. And let's just apply blush. Guys, this blush is so pretty. Okay, this blush is beautiful, and it's going on the skin super easily. Okay, so there's the blush applied, and you guys, I went a little bit overboard, let's not lie to ourselves, but tell me I am not the most beautiful clown. It really, really reminds me of the MAC Sheer Tone Blush formula. In specific, I have the Peaches shade, which I know is it's a cult favorite. It's a very well-known shade, and I would say this one is a little bit more pink than that one. That one's a little more peachy. This one's a little more pinky, but the formula itself, it is almost an exact dupe. Like, it goes on the same, quite pigmented, but very blendable, a beautiful, like, soft matte finish. So far, definitely my favorite. So now let's see if the highlighters can top that off. Okay, so for this look, I want to use both highlighters. Again, we're doing drag, baby. We're going all the way. We're using everything. So I'm first gonna use glazed, which one? This one. The more yellow one, which also seems less reflective. And we're gonna use that as a base. And then on the high points of the cheeks, I'm gonna use blinding to further enhance the highlight and make it even shinier. So yeah, let's dig into glazed. And let's just see how it looks applied on the skin. Ooh, there we go. Also for now, this highlighter is not emphasizing too much texture, which is incredible because I have a lot of makeup on, as I said. Okay, so that is the shade Glazed. Glazed all over the face. And now we're gonna go with a more detailed highlighter brush, and we're gonna dig into the shade Blinding. So you guys can probably tell on camera that's giving me more of a whitish glow, and it's even more reflective than the yellow one. Okay, so there's the face fully highlighted. I do really like the highlighters. They're more on the metallic side though, so if you prefer metallic highlighters, I think you're gonna like these. If you prefer more shimmery highlighters, I don't think these are gonna be your favorite, but they're definitely very blinding, very easy to build. Okay, so now let's actually get into the part that most of you are here for and that matters the most, which is the eyeshadow. So let me zoom you guys in a little bit. Okay, so the Vivienne, as a kind of like drag artist, she's very versatile with the makeups, with the eye shapes she does, and she doesn't usually stick to one, but I kind of want to recreate a little bit of a similar eye shape to the one she did for her photo shoot. Different colors, again, like we're going to be focusing more on the greens, yellows, and purples, and maybe even use the gold glitter if I'm feeling spicy. I'll just pop an image like here. I'm gonna try to use that kind of eye shape as a guideline. Okay, so let's go now with the dark green shade called Mossy into the kind of crease, and this is kind of like the deeper shade we're gonna use to form the kind of shape of the crease. And wow, okay, right off the bat, so much pigment. A lot picks up on the brush too. Oh, and by the way, in case I didn't say this in the beginning of the video, the palette is cruelty-free and vegan. Okay, so that's how the green shadow looks. I love how it's gone. It's super pigmented, not patchy at all. It's been super easy to work so far with, but I do kind of wish it was a little bit deeper. I kind of want a little bit more depthness. Depthness?
Illiterate!
Depth. Just depth. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into a little bit of Abyss, the black shadow, and let's see how that works to deepen this dark green shadow. Quite a lot comes onto the brush once again, and let's see how pigmented it is. Oh, okay, it's not, I wouldn't say it's the most pigmented black shadow, it doesn't seem, but it's like blending right in with the green. Like literally right in. I mean, you guys, I literally just packed it in and it already like is pretty much blended in. Which once again, just Bperfect shadows. I don't know what they do with their formula, but it's like sometimes you don't even have to blend them. They just blend themselves. You can kind of build it up to be a little more dark and black, but I don't feel like it's the blackest black out there. Even inside the Bperfect formula and eyeshadows, I feel like I've used darker blacks than this one, but this is definitely a very nice black to like blend. Okay, and now we're gonna go in with the shade Gush. Gush, I don't know, this one. The more like mid-tone, kind of like bright green shade. And we're gonna use that to further blend out this like muddy dark green. And oh my god, you guys, look at the pigment on that. And you guys, in general, like I'm doing this makeup over top of my blocked brows. And if you've never like done drag or blocked your brows and then makeup on top of them, it is way harder for eyeshadows to perform well over top of like blocked brows. They usually don't stick as well. Even if you use primers, they just don't stick as well. They look more textured, they don't blend as nicely. But so far, Bperfect is coming through. I mean, this is a palette from a drag queen, so I would expect it to work on top of blocked brows, even though I think the Vivienne doesn't block her brows. I think she just shaves them off. But oh my god, that pigment. Okay, so there we go, and now we're gonna go into the shade Waste, which is this shadow right here. And again, this is the lighter green, so what we're going to do with it, we're just going to keep blending this green gradient we have going. So, okay, this is a very neon looking shade. You guys can probably tell on the brush. It picks up quite a lot, and it looks like radioactive. Like, I don't know, I feel like this shadow you might not be able to tell as well on camera, but that is pigmented. That's a neon shade for sure. It looks very neon on the eyes, but it's going on very pigmented. It does show a little more yellow, I feel like, at least on my skin. Oh my god, you guys, these are blending so effortlessly in between each other. Okay, so there's the green blend finished, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I mean, you can see a little bit here. There's a little bit of texture or patchiness. That's not from the eyeshadows though. Like, the eyeshadows are still blending in really well together. It's just my brows are there, so it creates a little bit of texture, but you know, I still think it did an amazing job, and it was so easy to do, and I just love how it's turning out. So yeah, now let's cut the crease, right? Okay, so I've cut the crease, and what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna go into the shade Power, which is this metallic purple, and we're gonna basically use that all over the lid. So let's see how that performs. It picks decently on the brush. I mean, it goes on pretty pigmented on the eyes. It's not a super metallic. Oh no, it's having some fallout. Okay, so there we go. There's the purple eyelid. And I think, let's try to add a little shimmer, because to be honest, that purple is not giving me life. Like, it's not I don't know, it's just not giving me much. Like, it's pigmented, but there's nothing much else going for it. Like, it is a little bit metallic, but barely reflects any light. And it had some fallout, as I showed you guys. So what I'm going to do is to try and shoot it up, I'm going to add a little bit of a crown, which is the glitter shade. I'm just going to try to, like, just do a little bit of this over it. Okay, let me see if I'm able to pick up the glitter with a brush, which it seems like I am. Oh wow. And that really packs a punch with the brush. I'm liking this. I'm actually gonna try to cover up the whole purple. Okay, so this is what the glitter looks on the lid. I don't think the camera is doing it justice. In real life, it looks very three-dimensional, like very textured, very nice. It's actually a very pretty glitter. Okay, since we took the purple out of the lid, let's add it on the bottom lash line. So what we're gonna do, add some of this Purple Rain matte eyeshadow. There we go, super pigmented, picks up really nicely on the brush. Okay, so now I actually want the bottom lash line to be a little more dark and smoky. So I'm gonna once again go into this, the black shadow, and I'm gonna see how that blends in with the purple and how much it deepens it. Okay, with this brush is going on way more black than it showed up with a more fluffy brush. Okay, so now I'm interested because since it seems like if you pack this black eyeshadow on, it goes on way more pigmented. I kind of want to see if I can do, I'm not going to do like a smoked out liner, but on the outer area here where I'm going to put my lashes, I'm still going to add liner. So let me see how that black applies as a liner. Oh wow, okay. It does seem to work really, really well. Okay, it seems like it's not just the purple. Whenever it's happening the same with the black, when you grab a lot of shadow on a dense brush and you try to pack it on, some of it is gonna fall out. And it's gonna cause fallout, and right now I have a lot of black fallout under my eye. So yeah, I think that's pretty much the eye look done. I am gonna go off camera, finish this eye, add some lashes, and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back with the full face done, lashes added, lipstick added. If you do want to know like the details of, for example, the lipsticks I've used, you can go to my Instagram and I will have all the information for all the 3 looks I'm doing there. You guys, I love how this look turned out. Like, I am low-key so obsessed. Obviously, it's not drag queen. I don't have a wig. Actually, let me try to do some editing magic. Please welcome to the stage, Izzy Sex.
Slay! Slay!
Overall, like, I really like the palette so far. I had a little bit an issue with the fallout of a few shades when we were packing them on, but I mean, it was not like impossible to solve. I think the purple was the worst one just because of fallout. I wasn't able to sweep it as easily out of my cheeks and it left a little bit of purple cast. I surprisingly liked the glitter way more than I thought I was going to. It actually performed really well. I packed it on the lid very easily. It sticks nicely to the lid. And yeah, that was nice. I mean, the greens. The greens. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this drag queen inspired look. I think it's a great look to open up the video. And now let's get onto the second look. So hello, this is the second look we're gonna do now, and you might be able to recognize I look the same as in the intro of the video, and that's because yes, I am recording this after the intro of the video. Anyways, let's get into it. And for the second look, I want to do something more for my neutral gals. Although this is a very colorful palette, I want to try and prove that you can still use it for everyday looks. It's still gonna be a little bit over the top. You can always obviously tone it down a little bit. But I mean, I'm really trying to put the shadows to the test. Okay, wait, I almost forgot. First, before we get into the eyes, let's use the shade Blinding as a highlighter. This time by itself. And let's see how it looks on the skin by itself. Okay, that's beautiful. I do have a little bit of liquid highlighter I mixed with my foundation and applied on this section. So there is a little bit of glow already there. But, I mean, you guys can tell the difference here. It's kind of more natural. Here, it's very blinding. Okay, so now let's actually get into the eyes. As I said, it's going to be a little bit more nude, so we're going to be using these kind of shades. And then I'm going to try to add a little bit of a pop of pink. Okay, so first, we're going to dig into the shade Salted Caramel right there. It's like pigmented, but not super, like, overwhelming. I love Bperfect Cosmetics shadows. That is literally like I'm putting it and it's blending of itself. Okay, so there we go. There's salted caramel all over the eyes, and I mean, you guys, it literally applied itself. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go with this fluffier. It's not a pencil brush. It's just a very small detail brush, and we're gonna dig into Hot Chalk, which is the darker brown, and we're gonna use that to deepen the outer corner and even the inner corner. I think we're going to do a little bit of a halo moment. This one is a little more intense. Not that the last one was bad or anything, but this one definitely packs more of a punch. Okay, so there we go. The definiteness has been built, and again, very pigmented shade. It went on very smoothly, very easily. But now let's see how it blends. So I'm going to go back into the brush I used for salted caramel, and we're going to dig ever so slightly onto salted caramel. Brush most of the pigment out, and then we're just going to use this to blend in between both colors. You would be amazed with how hard sometimes it is to blend dark brown. Like some dark brown shades from some palettes and some brands just don't like to be blended out, but this one is blending out very easily. So there we go. I mean, it's blended really easily, really effortlessly, and now just to really finish it all off, I'm going to dig into Cookie Dough, that one, which is the lighter of the nude shades. And now we're gonna try to kind of like drag it out. Okay, and now it's pretty simple. We're gonna go in with the finger and we're gonna dig into the shade. What is that? Kiar? I think it's called Kiar, which is this neon, like bright pink metallic shade. And let's apply it on the center of the eye to kind of create that halo fantasy. It's going on very smoothly, very pigmented, and it's very beautiful. Okay, so there we go. As you can tell, this looks beautiful already, but we're gonna take it up a notch a little bit by adding a little bit of meringue. This is beautiful, like cotton candy, kind of like really reflective, light pink shade, and we're gonna apply that again on the eyelid, more towards the center though of the eyelid. Okay, so that's how it looks on the finger. It is super blinding. It basically has like brightened up that fuchsia. Now what we're going to do is go under the eyes, and under the eyes I'm going to use Hot Chalk mixed with a little bit of salted caramel, so it's not going to just be pure hot chalk on this little detailed brush we used before. I love this. Oh, I'm so into it right now. Work, okay. And now we're gonna go into a pencil brush, the same one we used for the nose highlight, and we're gonna go into the shade Bath Bomb, which is this shade right here, and we're gonna use that on the inner corner basically. right here. Okay, that looks very frosty, more frosty than I expected, so I am gonna go with a little bit of meringue again to add a little bit more pinkness to it. Now we're also gonna use meringue on the brow bone, just to highlight ever so slightly the brow bone. Okay, so I am now gonna add mascara, some lashes, and I'll be done once the look is finished. Okay, so here's the finished look. I added some lashes, which are from Bperfect actually. I think we really succeeded at creating a nude, wearable, pretty look for the everyday human being. See you on the third look. Bye! Okay, so welcome back to the third and last look of the video. So as you guys can see, most of my face is done. I have used the contour powder and the yellow highlight again, but I have used a different blush. For the third and last look I'm going to do for this video with the Sceptre palette, I want to go more with like this little quad of colors that I saw here, which is the 2 gray shades and the 2 orange shades. And then also because on the first look I wanted to use yellow, but I didn't really end up using it at all because the green like neon shade almost kind of turned into a more yellow shade on the skin. I will also try to be using this yellow shade and also even a little bit of this yellow metallic shade because I really want to see if it truly does look the same as the highlighter and it works the same, because I think it is. The exact same formula and everything, just in 2 different pans. Okay, so I zoomed you guys in so you can see how I did my eyeshadow a little bit better, and I've primed my eyes with the Pro Longwear Paint Pot from MAC in shade Painterly. Okay, so what we're gonna do first is dig into the shade Bedtime, which is the darker gray shade here, and we're gonna kind of like outline the shape that I want on the eye because we're going for a more like, almost like lava lamp. That kind of trend has been going on Instagram right now where like people go for more like circular kind of like shapes in their eyeshadow, so I'm kind of going for that. I'm gonna pick it up on an angled brush and right off the bat, super pigmented for a gray. And let's see, because gray shades are very tricky in the sense that it's kind of like black. It's very hard to get a true gray eyeshadow. They always tend to lean more blue or greenish or some sort of color, and they're never like true gray. Okay, so there we go. There's the outline of the shade kind of done, and that was really easy to work with. It is so pigmented that like almost use it as a liner. It was very easy to use. The only thing is, once again, just like in the first look, when I'm packing these eyeshadows on, there is a little bit of fallout, so just be careful. Okay, so now for the next step, we're gonna go into the lighter gray shade. I guess you can probably imagine that. And again, very pigmented, a lot picks up on the brush. Ooh, okay, I don't know if you guys can tell because I am packing very little on the eyes. By the way, if you see me holding something that is not the palette, I'm holding like a smaller palette because the eyeshadow palette is so big. It really gets my arm tired from holding it for so long and looking at the mirror, so I'm just using a smaller palette. Okay, so there's the gray added, and I really like the shade so far. It's a really pretty shade of light gray, and it's blended enough so that it looks good, but it also like, I've been able to keep that like darker line on the outside, which still keeps it more graphic, so far I really enjoy this. Now let's move on to the orange though, and let's see how the grays perform with the oranges. We're gonna grab this brush, and we're gonna dig into the shade LV, which I think comes from Louis Vuitton. I might be wrong, but I think I'm right. And we're gonna use that shade to blend in between the gray and the free space we still have in the lid. But it's not packing as much of a punch as other colors. It still looks beautiful though, wow. Okay, so the gray and the orange are definitely taking a little bit longer to get blended, but we're definitely getting there. Okay, so there we go, there's the orange on both sides, and I'm really liking how this is looking. It's just beautiful, I think. It looks really, really good so far. So I'm really excited. I also wanted to make a little note on the video, which is, I've seen a lot of people say that these 2 orange shades are the same, and I don't know how they might look on camera, but they're not the same. And I think it is an important distinction I need to make, because this one is a brighter, lighter, and more yellow base. Meanwhile, this one's a little bit deeper and a little bit more red. The undertone of colors can truly change the way they look on someone's skin and the way they mix with other colors on the eyes. So it is very important that you pay attention to the undertone of colors. Not every orange is the same. Okay, now to kind of finalize the matte shades on the eye, we're going to use the yellow shade Bubble. It picks up quite a lot and it seems to be quite bright for a yellow shade, but we'll see because yellow shades don't tend to show up too much. And I mean, to be fair, I don't want a very opaque application. This is why I'm using a big fluffy brush. And I mean, it's obviously very effortlessly blending into the orange shade because again, that orange that I used, LV, is more yellow based. So it is easier to blend in with the yellow. And now, to kind of like finish it off, we're going to use a little bit of Marshmallow, which again, I do think this is kind of the same shade as the highlighter, but let's just apply it on the eye and see how that looks on the eye. And there we go. I do think it's the same highlighter formula because it is very smooth and it looks very natural compared to the other metallic shades in the palette. Like it is kind of just like a layer of luminosity, but I mean, it looks gorgeous. It's just, I really do think it's the same formula. Now I'm going to dip back into the shade LV with a smaller, kind of more detailed brush. And I'm just going to rub it under the eyes. There we go. So there's the eye. I'm going to go add some lashes and I'll be back. Oh, okay, so here's the finished look. And what do you guys think? I've added some lashes, finished the other eye, and added some gloss to the lip. And yeah, it just really goes to show the versatility of the palette. So yeah, let's just get into my overall thoughts of the palette. And overall, I really like the palette. So it's not a perfect palette. I think, you know, there's that repeat shade with the highlighter and the Marshmallow shade, this one and this one. Okay, so let me talk about the face powders because I really love these 6 pans. The contour and the blush, I love the formula. It is very blendable, it's very pigmented, so you do need to go a little bit careful, especially if you're have a lighter skin tone like I do. The contour can come a little bit strong if you go in too harshly or if you go in with too much, but it is very beautiful, it's very blendable, it has a beautiful tone. If you're a light to medium skin tone, this would work on you. Unfortunately, if you are a deeper skin tone, I don't think this would work on you, which is like another flaw I have with the palette. It is not universally like fitting, and it is not going to fit everyone, which is a shame. So then when it comes to the blush, I love this blush. I mean, I already told you guys how much I love this blush. I use it on the first 2 looks. And I just love it so much. It is, again, it reminds me of one of my favorite blushes from MAC. The formula, it is gorgeous. It goes so smoothly on the skin. It almost has a blurring effect on the skin too. And it just lays down on the skin so beautifully. Both highlighters are gorgeous. If you don't like shimmery highlighters, you're gonna love these because these are very metallic. And then the 2 face powders, the black and the white, I really enjoyed. The white is more pigmented than I thought, and that kind of went against me a little bit on that first look because I did use a little too much on my face. But as an eyeshadow, it is a beautiful white eyeshadow. I highly recommend it. And again, if you are very pale or you're doing like drag makeup or you want to like do some sort of extreme contour, this white shadow will work for that. And then the black shadow, again, super beautiful. I think it's better even than the one in the Carnival 3 palette. It is very blendable, like super blendable. It has almost this creamy texture to it, and I think that's what makes it so blendable. But it also makes it so that you can build it up and pack it on, like I did, and almost use that as an eyeliner because you can get it to be really, really black. And then when it comes to the eyeshadows, the glitter, I'm not a big fan of glitter. I've said that already probably a million times during this video, but I don't mind this glitter. It's stuck nicely to the skin without me having to even use an eyeshadow primer, and it is more extra dimensional than I thought it would look like. On the pan, it just looks like gold glitter, but when you apply it on the eyes, it has some more texture and reflex to it. It's not just gold. As far as the glitter shadow goes, it is not a bad formula. And then we have the metallics, which I've already said how the purple one was a little bit disappointing. But apart from that, the metallics are beautiful. They're not the most blinding ones, most of them. These 3 ones are the more blinding ones. The rest are beautiful, but they're nothing out of the ordinary. They're just good metallic shades. Don't expect a lot of shine. And then finally you have the matte shades, which to me are the star of the palette, as with most Bperfect palettes I feel. And these mattes are just beautiful. I mean, they're so colorful, but they're so pigmented, but so blendable. It's just like the perfect colorful matte formula. I mean, even the nudes were good too. Like, I love the matte shadows from Bperfect. I know that some people have criticized about this having some repeat shades. People think that the pinks are the same or the oranges, like I told you guys while doing this look. I don't agree with those. I think the pink ones are pretty similar, but still do have a slight difference. I think the only shadows that truly are the same in the palette are Glaze, this highlighter, and Marshmallow. For me, I can let it pass, but I can see how that can bother others and can make it less appealing to purchase the palette, so yeah. So I think if you're someone that's looking for a colorful palette and you're gonna get your money's worth out of, I think this is a beautiful palette. If you're someone that's looking to get into drag or looking for a palette specifically that is gonna serve you well for drag, this is also a beautiful palette for that. If you're someone that already owns a lot of rainbow palettes or a lot of Bperfect cosmetic palettes, then maybe this is not a necessity. Nonetheless, I still recommend it. So yeah, let me know down in the comments, what is your favorite look out of the 3 ones I did, and what are your thoughts on the palette? Any questions you might have that I might have forgotten to answer in the video, feel free to ask me. And yeah, it's so nice to be back here on YouTube and filming more videos. Hopefully there's more to come. And yeah, see you guys on another one. Bye!